Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're tackling a very specific piece of hardware. It's from HDTV Supply, the WolfPack 1x2 HDMI Splitter.
Right, the HDTV SP05S. And I know it sounds like a really dry topic, just a little box that splits a cable.
It does.
But if you've ever, and I mean ever, tried to set up a home theater, maybe sending a PS5 signal to a TV and a projector at the same time,
Yeah.
you know this is where the nightmare starts.
Oh, absolutely. The dreaded black screen of death.
Or the flickering, the little sparkles. We're digging into this WolfPack unit specifically because its specs are basically a perfect checklist of why those setups fail. It's not really about the splitter, it's about the hidden traffic jams in your video chain.
Okay, let's start with the biggest number I see on the box, 18 Gbps. We see this everywhere now, on every HDMI cable. Is this just, marketing inflation, or does it really matter?
No, it's definitely not marketing. It's just math. Think of it like a water pipe. A standard 4K movie, maybe at 30 frames per second, it fits into a 10 Gbps pipe just fine. But the second you want 4K at 60 hertz for that really smooth motion in sports or gaming, the amount of data, it just explodes. You physically cannot squeeze that signal through a 10 Gbps pipe.
So if you buy a cheap splitter that's only rated for 10 Gbps, your PlayStation or your Apple TV is forced to just downgrade the signal on its own.
Exactly. It has to. So you bought this beautiful 4K 60 hertz TV, but what you're actually watching is a 1080p slideshow because this little $100 box choked the bandwidth. This WolfPack opens that pipe to the full 18 gigs.
Got it. Okay, the other bit of alphabet soup on here is YUV 4.4.4. I think most people, myself included, just tune out at YUV. What is that actually doing?
So that's all about color, specifically color compression. To save space, a lot of services, like streaming services, they compress color data. They call it 4.2.0. They basically throw away half the color information.
Because our eyes don't really notice it in a lens.
For the most part, yeah. In a moving video, it's hard to spot. But this unit supports 4.4.4, which means no color compression. It's passing every single bit of color data for every single pixel.
And where would that matter?
If you're using it for a PC monitor where text has to be sharp, or for high-end gaming, then 4.444 is like mandatory.
Yeah.
It also supports HDR and deep color, so you don't get that washed out look.
Okay, so we've got speed, we've got color, but you're right. Usually when these setups break, it's not that the picture looks a little off, it's that the picture is just gone.
The HDCP error.
Yep.
The biggest headache of them all.
The specs here say HDCP 2.2 compliant. Why does that 2.2 matter so much?
HDCP is the copy protections, the digital handshake. Netflix, Disney Plus One, all your 4K Blu-rays, they use it. It checks every single link in your chain. The TV, the receiver, the splitter, every single one. And if just one link is an older standard, say HDCP 1.4, the source just cuts the feed. It thinks you're trying to pirate the movie. This unit keeps that HDCP 2.2 handshake strong across the whole chain.
But what about when you're mixing and matching gear? Say I've got a new 4K TV, but I'm also running a line to an older 1080p monitor in another room. That has to confuse the source device, right?
It absolutely does. And that's where the EDID management comes in. EDID is it's basically a resume that the TV sends to the source device saying, hey, I can handle 4K, HDR, and surround sound.
And if you have two different resumes coming from two different screens,
the source usually panics and just defaults to the lowest one, the lowest common denominator. So your brand new 4K TV gets stuck with a 1080p signal because of that old monitor.
Ah, so the weakest link holds everything else hostage.
Precisely. This WolfPack has 4 different ED modes. It's like a traffic cop. It tells the source exactly what to send to make sure everything is stable, instead of just letting the devices argue. Oh, and it passes through all the high-end audio, too. Dolby True HD, DTS-HD. It doesn't strip your sound out.
I did notice one other thing on here that seems kind of rare for a device at this price point, a micro USB port for firmware updates.
That is surprisingly important. I mean, HDMI standards can be so finicky. A new TV model comes out, maybe it has a weird handshake quirk. Being able to patch the firmware means this box doesn't become a paperweight in a year.
So looking at the price, it's about $100. It really feels like you're paying for all the invisible stuff to work correctly.
You're paying for insurance. That's what it is. You're ensuring that the 4K quality you already paid for in your TV and your console actually makes it to the screen.
It does bring up a bigger question about longevity, though. We're talking about 18 Gbps being the gold standard for 4K right now. But we all know 8K is already here. It's creeping in.
It is.
It feels like we're always in this cycle where our cables and our connections are just barely catching up to what our screens can do.
That's the nature of the beast, isn't it? The screens always get better faster than the pipes we use to feed them.
Something to think about before you snake all those expensive cables behind the drywall. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
See you next time.